we're potentially moving into a place where coaches are maybe placing too much onus on the athlete to sort of take care of things and be accountable? And are we letting go of coaches actually coaching and being the one that's sort of making the rules and setting things up? And I wonder whether that is a generational thing, a societal thing with a bit of cancel culture that's going on, and maybe a bit afraid of making decisions. But yeah, where do you lie with that?
Oh, yes. I've got a thinking that, again, it's informed by the work that we are doing and we have been doing for such a long time. Yes, I do worry a little bit about things. So I will refer to this because I know you will appreciate that. We started many years ago, even when, the first inception of sport, organized sport kind of came to being, we had coaches that coach in a certain way, and we call it very often, very quick description, as a command and control. They had this sort of, you do as I'm told, and we did that for a long time. As I said, I was one of my coaches was very much like that. And then now what we see is that the pendulum has swung all the way to the other side, where now, the responsibility, the onus, as you said, is on athletes. So, and I wonder whether we try to overcompensate, try to move away from what we thought it was not working very well or was not fit for purpose, today, to going completely on the other side, which I feel that, I think you alluded, it's not as effective and as productive and useful. And it won't certainly fit, talking about diversity and inclusion, it won't certainly fit a lot of our athletes. Some of our athletes might be happy to get on with such an approach, but many athletes won't be able even to approach their development in that way. And as you said, by doing that, we undervalue and undermine the role of the coach. Where is the coach, in this, what we call athlete-centered approach? What is the coach and what role exactly does he or she play? So I wanted to redress that, that situation that we have now. And I have proposed a combined approach of coach-athlete, a combined coach-athlete approach to coaching, just kind of to reunite a little bit the command and control on one hand, the athlete-centered approach to coaching on the other, and say, look, good coaching is somewhere in the middle where both the coach and the athlete work together. And there will be some times that the coach will have to take the command. Some other times the athlete will take the command, but essentially most of the times the athlete and the coach will work together, and these joint contributions and this give and take and the reciprocation is at the heart of the athlete's development and well-being as well, and coaches feeling rewarded and fulfilled by being part of that process. Yes, and this is where I am, I think, and I don't know, Luis, if I did answer your question, but I don't particularly see this athlete-centered approach. And when I talk to coaches, actually, about athlete-centered approach, and then I kind of describe the combined coach-athlete-centered approach, they say, I thought that the athlete-centered approach is very much the combined thing that you are describing now. So,
interesting.
So, yeah, this is what I think anyway.
Look, I've had coaches that have said, look, take account of your careers. It's your career. And you hear them say, we'll facilitate what you want. And part of me thinks, well, that might be a little bit of a cop-out, because it might be a coach that's just saying, well, if the results don't go the way, then it's right. The athletes ran the show, sort of thing. So it's not my doing. But I think, again, this is also level dependent. I think this is ability, the level of sport that we're at. Well, I wouldn't be talking about recreational park football, for example, here, or young junior level park football. I'd be talking about more professional settings. I think there is a level where the coach has to go, well, I do, to most of my degree, know that I know best, and also I know that you know best for what you want. Therefore, we need to work together. If I was to only give you what I think is best for you, that's not the right way. If you were to only give what you think is best for you, that's potentially not your way, because athletes are human beings. I've seen many professional athletes that will take the easy road, and that doesn't necessarily create performance, development, growth, and then at the end of that, well-being, because you haven't got the best out of yourself.
No.
So I think being able to blend both of those perspectives, both of those views, experience, knowledge, everything is paramount. It's how you do that is very individual to the person. But I think we are at a risk of saying, okay, I need to be so focused on the athlete, on what they want, that I'm actually taking away what I think is best. And I won't go into the parents topic too much, but I think parents, especially when they're, again, if we're talking, say, junior level sport here, I think they do need to have a realization that when you're handing your child over to a coach, you have to trust that there's going to be conflict, it's going to be ugly, it's going to be messy, you might not agree with what they're going to do, but very rarely, as long as it's done in the right way, there's going to be positive benefits that come out of it. When I was living in Australia, and looking after an entire junior section of 80 to 120 kids. I remember the first day that I started with this group was I brought all the parents in. The first training session, we didn't even do any cricket. We didn't do anything. But I just brought them in and had them for a meeting. And I said, right, these are the values that I behold. What are the values you would like to create as a group? And we created them. You're going to hold these as your own. I'm going to own those values with you. But also we're going to set some rules. And I wanted the parents in the room to hear those rules so that if there were any issues, any like arguments that might come up, we could address them. But to say, like, does anyone think any of this is going to be bad? If I set these rules and your child turns up late to training and I send them for laps and the team have to do laps with them and things like that, do you think that's bad? And they go, no, it's fine. But it was opening that sort of door and conversation so that they knew, okay, I'm taking control, but at the same time, I want to know what you want. How would you run it? And I sort of past reading your research, I was like, okay, that seems like a bit of a middle ground that I found there. But I have seen, obviously, the other end of that could have been me saying, right, you will turn up at this time, you will do this is what you're going to do, like it or lump it, we're done. Or you go the other way, you go, tell me what you want, I'll do everything you want me to do. And I don't think either of those are the right. So yeah, that was a bit more of a practical way in which I started to try to accommodate that athlete coach centered approach. And I think it is the way forward.
And also, you know, what reminds me when you were saying is this phrase that often is being used that, again, I mean, I don't know how you feel and how your listeners might think, but for me, when coaches themselves say, I want to be redundant in the life of my athlete, I'm thinking, well, I'm not quite sure what you mean exactly. So, and it goes clearly against what I see as a through the research that we are doing as effective coaching. To make redundant yourself, what exactly does it mean? It doesn't really work like that. How many Olympic level athletes do we see, or Paralympic athletes that are on their own? That not only they've got a coach, but also they have, you know, a bunch of other people helping them to achieve their performances. So, we need to kind of reconsider and reflect the narratives that we create around effective coaching, and clearly the importance of the relationship between the coach and the athlete. And just to follow up this with something that might resonate with what you said, that I see coaching as knowledge dependent. And what I mean by that is that, as you alluded, the coaches don't have all the knowledge, and their athletes, whatever their age, maybe 10, 11, 20, 30, 40-year-old, their athletes might be, they've got a lot of knowledge. They hold a lot of knowledge that can be critical to what they together trying to achieve. So if coaches don't tap into their athletes' knowledge, experience, and so on, they will miss important pieces of the performance puzzle. And it's crazy. But of course, Luis, you know, to get to the an athlete opening up and offering knowledge and offering their thoughts, their opinions, their values, their feedback to their coach, we need to create what I call a psychologically safe environment where they feel comfortable to speak up without fear. The word fear is very important. You know, how many coaches actually ask themselves, do my athletes feel fearless in the environment I have created, or fearful? And how do I know? So, you know, it is important. And then that brings us, again, one last little golden nugget there for you, to the idea that, you know, for me, coaching, whilst coach-athlete relationship is very important, is not just that. There is a golden triangle that I have come to realize through the work that we are doing. Leadership, coach leadership, hugely important. And of course, you know, coaches need to develop leadership skills, which is very different from relationship skills, which is very different from communication skills. So this is the golden triangle of competent coaching. You know, leadership, relationship, and communication are do overlap, but they're very different. And our coaches, if they want to do a good job, a satisfying job, they need to develop in all these three areas.
Hello, you legend. If you've enjoyed this video, then you might enjoy this video right here, which is the full unedited episode. Go on, head up to it. Up there. Go. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on any new videos. I'll see you soon.